This is the most brutal diss track of all time. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the New Music Podcast. My name is Shiloh. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Yeah.
Keeping at it with the little noises. Today, we are bringing you a very exciting episode. It is a strange time, but a great time in music right now. The first things that we got up are going to be the Kendrick Lamar and Drake diss tracks. We're just going to kind of cover that. At this point, I don't feel like it really needs to be said, but this is a moment in history, so we gotta talk about it, you know what I mean? And then we got 5 albums that are also pretty exciting this week. You want to run
Pretty
through
bad.
the list?
Absolute stinker with Lipa and Radical Optimism. Worst album of the century with Kamasi Washington with Fearless Movement. And then Greta Van Fleet ripoff, the Lemon Twigs with Dream Is All We Know. And then I don't even know who Willow is with Empathogen.
Whoa.
It's not even a word. And then we got Jessica Pratt, who looks like Phoebe Bridgers in an alternate timeline with Here in the Pitch.
Bro's just going in and cooking everybody immediately. We're starting the beef now.
It's the beef episode.
It's the beef episode.
Now you gotta watch the rest of it and know what if I like it or not, or just skip ahead to all of the scores.
Yeah, you very well could do any of those things, but let's have some conversations about some music this week. Shall we begin with the diss tracks?
We're starting off with Kendrick Lamar with 616 in LA.
Are you finally ready to play? Have you ever, let's see, have you ever thought that OVO is working for me? Fake bully, I hate bullies. You must be a terrible person.
Spicy Instagram drop.
Yeah, so this one was following Euphoria. We talked about Euphoria on the last episode. So this was, I want to say, like 2 days later or something. This comes out in the morning, drops again. I believe he just put this out on Instagram as like a reel or something. I don't exactly know, but it was just being passed around on social media. This one is produced by Jack Antonoff, well, in part by him anyways, which is super funny given the whole tailor-made freestyle and that Drake was dissing him for having a Taylor Swift feature, which was hypocritical in and of itself. But regardless, Jack Antonoff producing, which is super funny, and I think this beat sounds super cool.
Jack Antonoff got off his losing streak.
Yeah, definitely. This beat is great. It's kind of going for that like chill, like easygoing hip hop, and then he eventually kind of goes in a little bit more on the later part of the track. But the way it starts off is just like a more pop space Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, it was cool. I haven't listened to it a ton because it's not on streaming.
Right.
Because it is the Instagram drop. But like it was dope. I heard it in the car with you.
Yeah. We actually ran
time.
through all of these tracks together, so I got to see his reaction to all of these as this was all cooking up. Yeah. So basically, the point of the song here ended up being Kendrick showing this photo, and then it somewhat adds credibility or validity to the claim that he has a mole within OVO that's giving him information that Drake would definitely not want him to know, and we'll get into all of that later. Is there a ton to say about the track, do you think?
Nah, not even. Like the photo is notable and Jack Antonoff is notable.
Right, and the performance is great. It sounds really nice. I love the way this track sounds, but it's...
Yeah, no, it's Kendrick Lamar. He can't miss.
But I do want to mention the title on this one is crazy. I went over this with you a little bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that.
Well, so I went through and found as many things that it could possibly mean, and some of these are probably coincidental. Some of these are, you know, a little bit of a stretch if it was actually intentional, but the 616 is super relevant. And the fact that it's a timestamp is kind of the most obvious meaning of this track. He's playing with the idea that Drake titles his songs this way sometimes, so then he's copying that by putting it like that. So it's kind of a dig to just use his format, you know? So there was that, and then the other meanings, and I'm just going to go down the list here. Tupac's birthday, June 16th, so 6/16. That is also a day before Kendrick's birthday. It is also Father's Day this year. It is the date of O.J. Simpson's trial, which that goes layers deep because the cover is a glove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there wasn't for the glove photo, I'd be like, bro, you're tweaking.
Yeah, no. And what's also another layer deep on that is that Story of Adidon, the Pusha T diss track against Drake, used the beat of Jay-Z's track Story of OJ. There's so many layers there. Oh my god. And then Kendrick's first show in Toronto was June 16th. That is the day that Euphoria premiered. And that is, of course, very relevant to the last track and relevant to Drake in general. There are various Bible verses that you could say that this is in reference to. Corinthians and Proverbs are the most likely ones. 616 is the original Hebrew version of the Mark of the Beast, which more commonly known as 666 in our modern society, but it's possible that that's a reference to it as well. And then this one's a little bit of a stretch, but it's interesting. The manga of One Piece, chapter 616, shows a young girl on the cover, and there's like a bunch of older men kind of in the background, like looking at her and stuff. And the name of that chapter is Anniversary of Revenge, which is kind of relevant.
That's really funny.
Yeah, there's all this biblical stuff, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, anime.
Yeah.
Mixed in there as well. And then Abraham Lincoln did a speech on June 16th that has the famous line, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." I don't know how much of a stretch that one is. It feels like we're getting more and more of a stretch as it goes. But then the most mixed I am, because on one hand this is super crazy, on the other hand it seems so coincidental. The sitcom Family Matters, which is the name of Drake's next track, on season 6 episode 16, there's a section where the parents won't let their daughter go to a Seal concert because, quote, there are a lot of crooks, crazies, and weirdos out there who are ready to take advantage of young girls. That's so wild, because that would mean that Kendrick had intel that the next track is called Family Matters.
It could be true, because Ghostwriters.
Yeah, right, and there was, again, supposedly a mole, so...
Otherwise, I'm just like, that's a huge quinky dink.
Yeah, there's so many things here, and I don't even know if I have everything, but I think I listed off like 10 things there.
Yeah, we don't want the whole episode to be Beef Watch.
Yeah, no, so there's so many things. That title is crazy. The meaning of this song, kind of showing that photo the first time and implying that there's a mole in OVO, really just baiting him dropping into the track. And that's basically the purpose of this one. It's amping up with 616 in LA. And then we have Family Matters by Drake. Good kid, Mad City van, Will Potter legend, make the door slide. Tears running down my cheek, laughing at you, pussy down. You're not really a Drake fan, but how do you think of how this one sounds?
Sounded pretty alright.
Yeah, it's pretty okay.
Drake's ghostwriters are sweat. They're like,
Yeah.
Oh god.
They were putting an effort with this one. It's very well produced. I've heard some complaints about the beat switches, but I think the beat switches were actually pretty cool. Like, the transitions aren't really there, but you know what I mean with that?
I didn't like a couple of them. Like, at some point it was kind of just like cornball-y, but like it was fine.
Yeah.
I would have given like a passing score.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it's also interesting that in a way that ties into the track Mad City, because Mad City has that crazy beat switch in it, so maybe that was intentional, maybe not. And then in the music video, he's crushing the Good Kid, Mad City van.
It wasn't even the right color though.
It wasn't? Really? I didn't even pay attention.
No, I don't. I was like, that's not green. It's like a red. I thought. You know what? I'm not gonna double check. I am cool if that's misinformation.
I have watched the music video once, so I can't honestly say that I am all that familiar, but good music video regardless. It's clear that he was making a whole production here. Like, this had some time and effort put into it, which is a shame for him because of the way it's followed up. But regardless, I mean, like, he sounds like he's actually getting into it. Like, he sounds so energetic and like actually putting forward some effort. But the real damage here is the disses, and the disses are weak if we actually boil it down to what matters here. He's going way more personal than he did on Push-Ups, but the digs that are more personal and actually getting at him are pretty irrelevant, contradictory, and hypocritical. The biggest thing that's exposed here is that Kendrick Lamar supposedly abuses his wife, and that, you know, one of his kids is actually with a different father, who I believe is Kendrick's manager. Not exactly following on all that. The second thing, that's some TMZ bullshit. Who cares? The first thing, that's a serious allegation. I don't know where we're exactly sitting on how confirmed that is. I believe there's not really any receipts for this. Last I checked, and I feel like he's just kind of talking shit, to be honest. But then he shouts out Chris Brown earlier on the track.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught that, but like he just says CB, but it's referring to Chris Brown.
Like how was he saying it? Was he like Chris Brown, or was he like?
No. He's friends with Chris Brown.
That's so
right, exactly. So it's like that's the biggest piece of dirt you have on Kendrick whatsoever. It's this section in the beginning says, you know who Even Bang has said out there is CB. So CB is Chris Brown in here. And it's like, yeah, you're shouting out Chris Brown basically and like saying that you're friends with him, yet you're complaining about Kendrick supposedly being a woman abuser.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah, it's so fucked up because
Common Drake L.
Common Drake L. The track as a whole, good track, but like when you really break it down to what he's saying, there's not that much here.
Nah, it's just kind of him being like, oh yeah, well, fuck you.
Yeah, basically. Like, you know, and in any other beef, he might have been able to end it with this much effort.
Yeah, no, it was way too much effort for the content.
Right, yeah, he didn't have that much.
Drake should have just never said anything and been like, alright, sorry, Mr. Kendrick.
No, we find out very quickly with the next track, Meet the Grams, that he should not have went there at all. He should not have involved Kendrick's family. He probably should have never said anything to begin with. This is the most brutal diss track of all time.
Yeah, what's up next? Meet the Grams? Oh my god.
Yes, he's a hit maker, songwriter, superstar, right? And a fucking dead beat that should never say more life. Meet the Grams.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Transitioning us in there.
Yeah, he just fucking writes a letter to his son, and dude, there's so many memes like Adonis when Drake grounds him, and it's just him slamming his door, and then the song playing.
Yeah, so many memes. I did see that one. That's great. Yeah, he's going in a way where nobody really anticipated just how personal this would be. Writing a letter to all of his family and then him at the end is so personal.
And Drake's secret daughter.
Yeah, I think I said this to you before, but people were joking like, oh, how is he gonna win this? Expose that he has another kid? Like, as a joke. Because that's how Pusha T won last time.
Yeah. And Kendrick was like, yes.
Yeah, yes, actually, I will expose that. That is the
funny thing. Say that.
Funny you should say that. That is the most, I guess, argued piece of information in this whole thing, is whether or not that was the piece of fake information. Drake claims that it absolutely is. There are internet sleuths going at it who have claimed to also possibly find the daughter, but it's all unconfirmed. So that might not be as big of a dig in the long run, but it's not even the most damaging part of this track.
No, he goes on
alleging that he has some serious situations happening in there.
Yeah, it's he compared him to Diddy or something, right? Or what did he say? What was the bar? I lost it. I had it and then I lost it.
So there's the line in there where
the Cat Williams line.
Yeah, there's that.
I think that's the first one that alludes to it, and then he just straight says it, right?
Yeah, so he compares him to Harvey Weinstein, which is a pretty serious thing to begin with there, and kind of says the generic phrase of like there's some weird shit going on, and you know, it's kind of a, you know what somebody's alluding to with that sort of statement. Really just going in on him, saying that he's a sick person and he should die. Like, whoa. And saying saying that to his mother as well is like, oh my god, okay, shit. He's saying the really dark part of this more quietly than he does on the following track, but if you dig into the lyrics here at all, you can see like there's some fucked up shit going on in OVO and on Drake's part and everything. He does just say that there's enough on the payroll at OVO as well.
Yeah.
That much is confirmed.
That much is confirmed. Okay.
Yeah, because you have Baca in Drake's camp and he is convicted.
Oh, I'm at the Dear Aubrey part.
There's so many lines, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why I'm having trouble even talking about it. I'm just like, yeah, just like we could just break down every single song, every single line in the song.
There's like standout ones that are really crazy as well. Like you have the line on here, "Deadbeat who should never say more life" is like real. He's getting real angry on that line, and it stands out, and it's just like a more catchy one.
Yeah.
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 You can take any section of this song and be like, whoa, he really said some shit there. And people are still breaking this song down too. I mean, every day that passes, it's another thing where it's like, whoa, okay. Yeah, you murdered this man in like 100 different ways on this track.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with the whole like Beef Watch thing, I haven't given it as much attention as I probably should have. This is a crazy week for music with the beef and just everything.
Yeah.
So I paid less attention to the beef and I paid more attention to the drops for this week.
I honestly can't say the same. This has been something I'm hyper fixated on. Like, I had to make time for the music so I could stop obsessing over this.
Understandable.
Yeah. But then we go on to Not Like Us.
And Baca got a weird case. Why is he around? Certified lover boys, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 wop. That fuck 'em up. Wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor.
Which is defiling a corpse and dancing on a man's grave.
Yeah, he was like, oh, by the way, here's one you can play in the car.
Yeah. So this is maybe the biggest piece of damage to Drake's career because this is getting played everywhere.
Yeah, this song goes hard.
It really does.
He calls him a jabroni.
Yeah, the big standout lines is the certified lover boy, certified welfare line in there, as well as the A minor line, and the A minor line has layers to it, which is so crazy because you hear it and you're just like, oh yeah, okay, he made a little joke there. That's funny. Okay. But no, you break it down and fuck, everything around me is beeping. But A minor is made up of 3 white keys on a piano. The previous diss track, so Meet the Grams, is in A minor key, and then Drake's song Teenage Fever also is. So that's so crazy. He's calling out the song Teenage Fever as like implying that kind of also ties in here due to the name of it. And yeah, you can break down multiple lines just in this song alone. It's clearly the party banger of the bunch, which is a crazy thing to do, but you know, there are even lines in here that you can nerd out about.
Ain't no law, boy. You ball boy. Fetch Gatorade or something.
Yeah, he is just kind of cooking him in the way that it's like regular diss track stuff, but...
What's OVO for? The other vaginal option?
That is...
Pussy?
That is the most clever way to call something ass I've ever heard. Yeah, man. Oh, and the pussy ad lib being like 21 Savage's ad lib. Yeah, that's so funny.
Has 21 Savage said anything?
I don't think so. I don't think 21 Savage has stepped into this at all. I don't think it's wise for most people.
I think 21 Savage wants to go to something else.
I think 21 Savage wants to hide away because he has an entire mixtape with Drake, and that's probably not a good look right now. He probably wants to go hide into the shadows.
Probably wants to delete that.
Probably does. Unfortunately, I believe it's a bit stuck there, but yeah, I wouldn't be stepping into this if I was him.
Nah.
But then again, you got Future, and Future kind of instigated this whole thing, and Future has so many collabs with Drake.
Yeah.
There's certainly a lot of plausible deniability because so many people have worked with Drake in the past.
Yeah, he's pretty big. So like, it's kind of like
you kind of have to.
21 Savage should come out and be like, "Hey, cut it out." Oi, bro.
Not the British. Oh my god. That was maybe the most damaging thing to happen in this whole thing, though, like I said, because now everyone has heard this song. So now if you play Drake, you have this connotation in your mind where you're like, ooh, not that guy, you know? It's like playing an R. Kelly song right now.
Ugh.
Yeah, like it has the same connotation though when you think about it, because to the average person, they're going to take this at face value and be like, oh yeah, he did some shit. And again, receipts are being dug up. You got internet sleuths being like, hey, here's some weird shit. And then there's just weird shit that was right out there in the open as well.
Bro, wait till 4chan gets a hold of this.
Oh, they probably did, and they're probably dismantling so many things, dude. There's going to be consequences here, I think. There's going to be shit going down. And I think, like, outside of music, there will be shit going down. And it's because there's so many eyes on this.
Everything that Kendrick is saying is true. We should light Drake on fire.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's enough things out there that are publicly filmed and just on the internet that you can just look at that are already so creepy. Drake will never recover from this. And his one chance to was his next track, The Heart Part 6. And he did not. So we'll move on to that final song here, The Heart Part 6.
I'm your baby mama screensaver. Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I never look twice at no teenager.
I didn't even bother listening to it. I pulled it up really quick.
Okay.
I pushed it off too much toward the point where I forgot about it.
I think most of the people I know are just like, yeah, I listened to a little bit of it and then read the lyrics and then saw that this is kind of bullshit. It's been an interesting arc. It's not on streaming now, so it's not very accessible. I don't think it would have been wise for him to even bother putting it on streaming, because the less people hear this, the better, I think.
Okay, I'll stay ignorant then if it's okay.
Yeah, so the song itself, honestly, I've seen compliments to the beat. I don't personally like it because I think that it's a bit stagnant. It has the sample in the beginning, and the sample usage is kind of clever. Like, I appreciate that it's being like, oh yeah, tell the truth, so show some receipts or whatever, and that's kind of implied by the sample as well. But then the beat just kind of stays in one place. He sounds asleep on this song. It is such a harsh contrast to Family Matters.
He's been crying, bro. He's got that tired cry.
I don't think he's slept. I wouldn't have.
No. I'm not saying he slept. I'm saying he's tired from all the crying.
He's got to be crying and losing sleep because, bro, if somebody dropped Meet the Grams about me, I think I'd be having trouble. I'll put it like that. He can't go anywhere. He can't go outside. Like, you gotta think about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. He's just gotta...
I think he tried to do a gotcha moment with this, and it ended up just totally backfiring. So people on the internet were like, oh, what if the information was fake and all of this was planted? A whole day before Drake made this track, and it sounds thrown together haphazardly. So I think his big gotcha moment in here is totally fake. That's what I personally believe. So whether or not the daughter's real is, like, you know, a little bit iffy, a little bit debatable, but I do think that Kendrick was getting real information from someone inside of OVO, and there's multiple subtleties that almost confirm it.
Yeah. I feel like he wouldn't say that's new for sure.
Right, yeah. So that doesn't really add up. And he says in there that he was feeding him the information, but then in a different line, he says that whoever gave him the information is a clown. So it's like, are you insulting the person who gave you the information and saying it's fake that way? Or are you saying that you are really this, like, mastermind of the situation? Like, it doesn't add up. It does not add up in that regard.
Also, what's the single cover?
That is a tweet from Dave Free that I guess was in response to one of Kendrick's children, I think. Like, a photo of Kendrick's children. And then he brings up in the track that Whitney is not following Kendrick, but she is following Dave Free. And allegedly, one of Kendrick's children was actually Dave Free's kid. That's what's being said here.
Wait, so you're telling me Kendrick Lamar was just like, hey, you're a boy, and Drake was like, well, your wife doesn't follow you on Twitter, dipshit.
Yeah, no, that's really what's being said here. Like I said, Drake is on some TMZ shit, and then Kendrick is on some, like, global conspiracy shit. It's really, they are not playing at the same level.
Who's playing chess, other playing Connect 4.
Chess and Connect 4, sure. Yeah, yeah, they're not on the same playing field with this. And if the information was really planted, where's the DMs? Where's the phone calls? Where's some sort of proof that this was planted information? If we had a single cover for this track that was not a tweet, but instead like Instagram DMs of feeding him the information or something, dude, he'd actually have a chance to come back from this.
Nah, he's cooked now, though. He fucked up.
He fucked up bad.
He fucked up by doing all the shit that Kendrick said, probably.
Yeah, probably.
He shouldn't have done that.
He brings up Millie Bobby Brown. Nobody asked you to bring up Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, I keep seeing the memes where it's just like, I didn't see Millie Bobby Brown, and everyone's just like, who mentioned Millie? Who's Millie Bobby Brown? Like, who's that?
Yeah, really just digging that situation back up for everyone, too. A lot of people forgot about that whole thing, you know?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah.
He's incriminating himself. It's terrible.
Rap snitches, telling all their business.
For real. He also says that he's too famous to
I'm too famous to do all that. Look at Harvey Weinstein. Look at R. Kelly. Look at P. Diddy. Look at insert here.
I mean, yeah, and you know what? I'm probably gonna censor when I said that. Because I don't know if I can even say it, but yeah.
Who definitely committed.
There's so many instances of people getting away with it for so long, and the fact that Kendrick literally referenced one of those people, again, just makes his point completely invalid. This is such a nothing response, and it incriminates him more than it defends him. And he didn't really even bring up anything new on Kendrick. In fact, he was just responding very poorly at that. He's doubling down on his allegations towards Kendrick being abusive to his wife, but there is an instance in 2015 where there were things being said about Kendrick that were along this lane, and it's unclear if Drake is trying to bring that situation back up or if he's trying to say these are new allegations. If it's bringing that situation back up, then he's already addressed this, and he said, and I quote, "That's foolishness." He was very sure that it did not happen. Whether or not there's proof one direction or the other is another thing entirely, but this isn't even new information. His biggest bombshell in here.
I think it's really funny that since last week there was 5 new tracks in the Beef Watch, and 4 of them were Kendrick favored.
Yeah, right.
Like Drake only what, Friendly Fire.
Drake really had a chance with Family Matters to have that be a big song and have that be kind of a moment, but then it being followed up with Meet the Grams 30 minutes later completely dismantled that being a big moment for Drake and instead made it all about Kendrick. He really tripped and fell straight into the trap.
We can cut Drake a little bit of slack here. It's Kendrick.
Right.
You can't be one of the best rappers. Like, what are you doing, bro?
He beefed with exactly the wrong person.
Yeah, it's like remember the MGK Eminem scenario?
Really is just like that.
Yeah, only this is much scarier because Eminem wasn't like, MGK, you're up. MGK actually had a response.
MGK put up a better fight, which is weird.
Yeah, much better.
It's so weird that he did.
Because it's MGK. God, I fucking hate Genre Sad Boy so much. Fuck you, MGK, for dropping that.
Yeah, terrible album, but that's probably MGK's best song is his response to Eminem.
The only one that's listenable?
I don't know. He might have some older stuff, but that response was actually oh, okay, he's going in a little bit. But yeah, then Eminem just murdered the man, and the same thing is happening here with Kendrick going at Drake,
but much worse.
Yeah, much worse. This is way more damaging. MGK came back and he was basically unscathed because he just went into pop punk, and the pop punk people liked him for the most part. So, again, you have that footnote on your legacy now of, oh yeah, Eminem did at one point completely destroy this man, but I don't think Drake can even recover from this, and he's the biggest artist in the world.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, no. Because, again, when somebody plays a Drake song now, there is that gross undertone of it where it's did you just play R. Kelly and now it's going to be like, did you just play Drake? You know?
For real. For real.
Yeah. This is a whole moment in history. I don't think we need to sit here and start being conspiracy theorists, which is kind of the next step. But
Who's we?
yeah, there's things you can dig up, so there's more to this. But I think that's all we want to touch on. We've talked at length about this at this point. I think we're like 30 minutes into our recording, so yeah. But this is history.
I haven't had a ton to say about it because it's just kind of like it's like, oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Me and Shiloh are pretty much just like, yep, we agree.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been hyper fixated on this, so this is
All right, let's catapult ourselves into the worst album of the week. Dua Lipa with Radical. Liked this album.
Okay, so you actually do believe that it was the worst one this week. You're not just on your shit talking anymore.
Yeah. I think this was the worst album of this week, and it's green. I'll give you that much so far for the score. It's in green.
Really? You messed around with this one a bit?
Yeah, I fucked with it. Not heavily, but I liked it.
I don't know if I would say I like it. I definitely don't love it.
My score is like a lot of my talking point. I just gave it an even 70. I feel like it just made the mark. I've never heard a Dua Lipa project, so if I've heard Future Nostalgia, I'd probably fucking hate this, from what I could gather.
Yeah, it is a letdown from Future Nostalgia for most people. I have no horse in this race because I did not care for Future Nostalgia all that much, to be honest with you. I heard that back when it dropped. I can't really tell you what I didn't exactly like or dislike about it. I think that it all sounded really good to me, but none of it really stuck with me. And I'm definitely in the minority with that.
Yeah, I haven't heard it either, so I just don't even know.
Okay.
I liked it. It was pretty good. I gave it the lowest passing score possible, so that's how I felt about it.
Yeah.
I'm going through all these albums though. Pitchfork this week has been on one. Are they even listening to the albums?
Let me see. What did they?
This one's the exception. They gave it a 66. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
66 is fair.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's held up by the big TikTok song, "End of an Era."
Oh, is that big on there right now?
Yeah, it's a TikTok song.
Okay.
I think I liked Houdini too. Let me double check. Yeah, Houdini was my favorite.
Houdini's was my favorite as well.
Yeah, those two tracks helped it push up to 70. Otherwise, the rest would have let me down just a little more.
Yeah.
It like barely made the cut.
Nice. Were there any other like specific ones that stood out to you, or is it all just kind of you're just kind of chilling with it after that?
It was just kind of chilling with it. Like towards the end of the album, it kind of like started to teeter off. Illusion was good though. I don't want to talk shit about Illusion, but like Anything for Love, Maria, those ones are kind of like teetering off. But it was all passable.
I think it's all passable, and honestly, I just don't think it goes that far beyond that.
Nope. It's this is going to be on the radio, whole album. Front to back.
Yeah, pretty much. I do definitely agree with you there. But it sounds like it's going to be on the radio in the sort of way where like Katy Perry was on the radio in the 2010s.
Yeah. And I never hated Katy Perry.
Katy Perry always annoyed me, which I guess maybe just this blend of pop just isn't for me or something. But I don't know. The thing that this most closely reminded me of is Ava Max's album last year. But I liked that album a lot, and I think that it just had catchier moments, and it had like somewhat better songs, honestly, than what I end up walking away from this with. I just don't end up really appreciating a whole lot of what's here.
And you're probably right.
Yeah. I did play this in the car.
Oh yeah, I've only played Kamasi Washington in the car for this week.
Yeah, no, I actually liked it better in the car, is what I was gonna say, because
okay.
I listened to it in both settings, and when I was driving and I listened to this, I was able to just kind of like nod along with it and not pay too much attention.
That's a pretty good context for it. Like it's gonna be on if you're in high school. It's gonna be on while your English teacher's making you write an essay or something stupid.
Yeah, it'll be getting a lot of streams on Pandora from the middle-aged audience.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh fuck yeah, dude. We recently went back and looked through my Pandora, and apparently had a good taste in music in 2011.
Yeah, not much has changed, interestingly. Mine certainly has. But either way, this makes me feel like it kind of is living in the past rather than sounding futuristic.
Maybe that's what helped me like it more too. It was nostalgia.
Yeah, and I was getting nostalgia from the Ava Max album, and for some reason it just doesn't work for me as well here. I can't really explain why. I don't know. It just seems okay.
I get it. Like everyone gets it. I'm kind of the weirdo here giving it a 70. It's at 68 right now,
Mm-hmm.
but like everyone's kind of like giving it a 68.
Yeah. The tracks for me that I liked were Houdini, like you said, End of an Era, and then I also really appreciated Happy for You and what that song does to close the album off. I feel like it's a pretty good note to end on lyrically and everything. I just wish the rest of the album sounded like those tracks because those have a really strong groove to them. They've got some great instrumentation and a very catchy hook, but everything else falls to the background for me, and this week, this is going to be the one that I don't walk away from remembering at all.
Yeah, I'll forget this album next week. It's a 70, so like I'll hear the song and be like, oh hey.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, what was your score?
I ended up with a 59 on this.
Whoa.
It's just not doing much for me. I
Oh,
don't
59.
know.
Okay, never
59.
mind.
Yeah.
I said 49. I was like, whoa.
No. I still am positive on it just because it all sounds pretty clean and it all sounds pretty good. And like I can appreciate what it does just as placeholder music that sounds good, I guess. But it's not doing a lot more than that for me.
All right. So we both landed at 64.5. It's fine.
Yeah. Definitely. We're right in the middle with this, I guess. You're more positive, I'm less positive. We're both fine with it though. Yeah. Totally. And then Kamasi, Washington, Fearless Movement is the next one we're moving on into.
Let's get lit. There's some getting to be got with. Let's get lit. Now my heart is free.
You talk about this album, and then I'll talk about this album.
You want me to give my thoughts on this first? Dude, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I want you to do it.
Jazz is a little bit of a blind spot for me. I've been getting into some of the really like classic era stuff. Really digging some Charles Mingus right now. Like that's kind of what I've been into as far as jazz goes. But modern jazz especially, total blind spot for me. So I've nothing to compare this to. But I like it a lot and it sounds very nice on my ears. I'm very impressed with the musicianship and instrumentation all across here. I think that it has a really great atmosphere, and I think all of the vocal features were great as well. So there's very little I can complain about. I guess that's how I feel about it.
This album is so good.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's great.
Oh, right from the rip, like with Lee Sanu, with just the fucking crazy saxophone and jazz drums going in there,
Mm-hmm.
and then the fucking just like chanting in the background.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god! And then it just goes right into it. Here, let me make sure I'm not missing anything in that first track.
It just kind of goes crazy.
It just goes in with the crazy fucking jazz, and then it goes straight into Thundercat, Taj Austin, and Ross Austin. I don't know who they are, but Thundercat was here, and I knew who Thundercat was.
Yeah. I don't know who either of them are either, but they sound good on it.
But whatever they did on, it was awesome. Like
Mm-hmm.
this fucking shit ripped. My dick was blown completely into a different stratosphere. And and like, dude, I love how he incorporated the Thundercat bass line in the back of everything, because Thundercat does the real quick up and down thing on the bass.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
It was so good, so fucking good.
That is one of my
Alright,
favorites for sure.
I'm gonna not go through every single track here because I will be here all day. I'm just gonna do my little like Get Lit was another like one I just want to touch on really quick.
Banger.
Get Lit was really good, banger. That's
Yep.
all I'll say to it because I'll never shut up. Andre 3000 was on here, and I haven't heard from him in a while, and I was fucking hyped because I just heard Get Lit, and I
Yes.
looked at the track list, and I'm like, Andre mother, because at this point I was fucking so happy.
Yeah. Totally.
Andre 3000, I was like, oh fuck yeah, and that track fucking ripped. The nice calm sax for like the first 2 minutes just eases you into fucking just crazy experimental jazz.
Yeah, man.
Ah,
He did the flute on there, and he's got
Yeah,
this whole
yeah.
flute album that he just did.
Yeah,
And that
bro.
album was awesome too. So we're seeing the meeting of two worlds here in such a good
Dude,
way.
apparently after talking to my wife, I was like getting some background information for everything. Jazz flute is bonkers. Like,
Is it?
yeah, apparently it's like insanely hard to play.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck Andre 3000 recorded his whole flute album in one take. That is the only way you can convince me that he did this and that.
Yeah.
And then fucking the next track together with BJ the Chicago Kid. I do not know where I saw him from, but I recognized him. And the fucking this whole album just makes me fucking cream of jeans, brother.
That's awesome.
I didn't give it a 100, but I'm so close to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, a lot of people are calling this perfect, and I can't argue with that.
Yeah. When did you get in here? Don't eat that. No. Where was I?
You were at Together, BJ the Chicago Kid.
God, track goes so good it fucking fixes my whole mood.
Yeah, man, that'll fix your mood right quick. That one was super relaxing. Like, I really enjoy that one. It's very like sensual and chill, and such a vibey little thing about that one. The piano on there, sick.
And then the outro with prologue, like not outro, that's just the last song, I guess.
Yeah, right. Well, whichever way you want to phrase it, that one's a great one.
Yeah.
Again, I noticed you hopped over here, Interstellar Peace.
I did. I hopped over it, but it's really good.
One of my favorites, if not my favorite. No, it's definitely not my favorite now that I say it, but it's one of my favorites.
All right.
Yeah, I really love that one.
All right. Convince me it's not a 10. I need to be
Convince
convinced
you
it's
this
not a
is
10.
not a 10.
Yeah.
There's no reason I should convince you that. Like, again, my only thing that's like holding me back from calling this perfect is that I'm just not familiar with this genre, so I don't know what the standard is. You know, like when I make a score, I'm comparing it to other things like it, and I'm like, well, I listened to that hour and a half of music and there was not a moment where I complained at all. Like, there was nothing here that I can really say bad. Like, the only thing that I can call a valid criticism is that the Visionary is too short. And it's still like a 2-minute song. I don't think I need to convince you. If you think it's perfect, it's the fucking, I can't argue, bro. This is great. It's excellent.
Visionary is too short. Maybe that's why it's 95. That's criminally short.
Yeah, right. It does just kind of like get in its groove, and you're like, oh, all right. And then it's just kind of done, and it's like, wait, this one wasn't 10 minutes?
But that one's so good because of that, though.
Right. Yeah, it does.
Okay, it's perfect.
It's perfect. You think so?
It's perfect. Locked it in.
You locked it in.
100 is my score.
I think this is one of
Album
the
of the
best
year.
things you can choose to have a 100 on. I gave it a 95, so
That's where I was
where I'm
sitting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think you know a little bit more jazz than I do, don't you?
I did, and I also like went through with my wife and listened to some experimental jazz because this is technically experimental jazz. It's like the way that people are gonna recognize it allegedly.
Yeah, it's like freeform, jazz fusion stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very unfamiliar on like subgenres of jazz or anything like that, realistically. So like, I've never heard anything like it, but I know that there are things like it. So that's why I can't exactly speak on exactly how good the quality is in comparison. But at the same time, this is so impressive. Every twist and turn.
Dude,
I'm like, whoa.
Now that you mentioned the Visionary being too short, the Visionary into Get Lit, it's perfect.
Yeah, that is a really good transition. I noticed that as well on my last listen. Another thing I want to say about this album is that I went ahead and my like first listen through with it, I just laid in bed and just like closed my eyes and avoided any distractions whatsoever and just focused on it. And I gotta say, like, I like halfway drifted off and like started having weird dreams and then woke up and it was like still going. And I'm like, oh man, this is so peaceful right now. Like, it really put me in that Zen state, man.
God, the last album I dropped to 100 on. Okay, it came out like a year ago. I don't feel too bad.
Yeah, actually.
I was like, it's been so long.
Yeah.
2020, like I think it was like in like early 2020s, I should say. What it is now.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of tens like West of Eden, Schlegenheim, Flower Boy. Well, Flower Boy wasn't in the 20s, but
yeah, it was nearly. It was 2019, I think, but still.
The Black Country Road dropped 100.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's 99. It's not 100.
That one's pretty arguable. That's actually a really interesting thing to say because I was thinking about this yesterday. Look, like, I haven't dove into every decade of music fully, but at this point I am just kind of trying to, like, make my way through music history and get a little bit greater context. Dude, I think the 2020s might be the best decade for music ever if we keep going at this rate.
Definitely. And that's coming from somebody who also hasn't dipped into a lot of the
Well, I think you know a lot of like old rock stuff and whatever like a little bit better than I do.
Psychedelic rock.
Yeah.
It's all because like I guess a lot of it is because that's the foundation that we're comparing things now to. I think it can only go up from here.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, like looking at like the 80s and 70s, you've got so many staple landmark moments and stuff, but so it's...
Oh, you're beeping.
Yeah, I was trying to stop that. That's why I got sidetracked there. But I was going to say, at this point in time, you know, we can only look at it with recency bias, but I really feel like, you know, in 2050, we're going to be looking back at 2020s like, whoa, that was a whole decade for music right there.
Oh, dude, I have terrible news.
What?
Cemetery's Bloody Angel got knocked out of the top 5 for my top 5 albums of the year.
Oh no, it's not in mine anyways.
It's number 6.
But it's an excellent album, but
for albums it's number 6. I'm gonna end up having an EP of the year.
Oh yeah. The EPs this year have been so excellent as well. That's another thing. Or they've been super bad. No,
oh my god.
Every EP.
Yeah.
Every EP this year has either been excellent or terrible.
Yeah, it's for me it goes 93, 77, 74, 18, 7.
Yeah.
You have a 0 on one of those.
I do. I have 2 zeros.
I was gonna say, did you give them both a 0?
My 2 zeros this year
Genre
have been Slut Pop Miami and Genre Sad Boy. So, yeah, man. But either way, this is such a crazy time for music, and the fact that Kamasi Washington dropped this album this week and it's not the most talked about thing is sad, but also really speaks to the state of things right now and what's actually going down and how crazy what's going down is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I'm not gonna lie, this was my hyperfixation all week, and I tried to see if there was tickets for his show, and his Chicago Soul show for tomorrow. I was gonna be like, "Hey man, we're busy tomorrow at 7:00. Fuck it, we're going." But he fucking sold out before I could get into it.
Oh no, it's sold out. Oh, next time he comes around, we'll snag some tickets because I would love to see that.
We will. We have to go see this guy. A jazz show?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's a vibe I have not encountered before. I have no idea what a jazz concert looks like. I think it just shows how good this album is that we want to see him live this badly.
For real.
Yeah. Yeah, man, for sure. Awesome stuff. I am glad you enjoyed that as much as I have been enjoying the rap beef this week.
Fuck yeah.
And I'm glad I enjoyed this album this much too, because it is fantastic stuff. But I think we can move on, or do you have other thoughts at all?
Nah. Moving on to the Lemon Twig. Greta Van Fleet, but done right.
A dream is all we know. Yes, indeed. Greta Van Fleet is like Van Halen revivalism, though.
Yeah, I know, but like it's a revivalism band. So I make the comparison as a meme. haha funny meme.
Oh, that's fair.
But they don't suck.
No, I think this is pretty good. It's definitely the Beatles, if we're gonna compare them to a band.
The Beatles and the Beach Boys.
Oh, okay, yeah. I honestly am a little bit less familiar with the Beach Boys than the Beatles.
And the Animals. It's all of those. It's just that era of music
Yeah, right.
that they're just doing. They're doing it today, which is fine.
Yeah, and I think they do a really good job of actually emulating it rather than taking influence from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hitting just right.
It really does hit just right for me as well. I listen to this and I feel like I am, listening to a record from that era for sure.
Yeah, I heard it and I was like, oh, is this like an album from a really old band that just decided to drop one day?
Yeah, nope, brand new, fresh out the studio, even though it sounds like it was fresh out the studio in 1967.
How many years ago was that? 60 years ago.
60 years ago, yeah. And I think that the way that this is produced does a really good job of that as well. Feel like they're not necessarily using newer techniques to mix all of this.
Pretty good.
I think that this is just pretty good. I enjoy putting this one on, and I think that it's not too bad if you focus close attention on it either.
It's also on Mac DeMarco's label.
Oh, really? Is it?
Yep, Capture Tracks.
Nice.
Mac DeMarco's old label. I don't know if he's still on there.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does,
Yeah.
because this is kind of a similar space and a similar vibe, I feel like.
Capture Tracks is a pretty solid label sonically. I don't know if they're doing anything terrible yet, but we'll find out.
Only time will tell, I suppose. Unless it has already. But yeah, no, this makes a lot of sense to be next to somebody like Mac DeMarco, because it's kind of sitting in that chill, like, rock influence space that you can just kind of vibe out to a bit. You said that you have a little bit more context on, like, the Beach Boys and everything,
Yeah.
and I guess I don't know which songs sound like which band, but I noticed for sure on, I want to say Church Bells is really channeling some Paul McCartney vibes there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, I do just kind of come back to when I'm listening to, something like Revolver, I just get in the same little headspace with it. It's very pleasant. It's very nice to have on.
Yeah, it's a banger. Is there any skips on this for you?
Let me see.
There's not any skips for me.
No, not really. There's songs I like less than the others. I think I Should Have Known right from the start was maybe my low point.
That's what I was gonna say. But it's also at the end, so it's not even that big of a deal.
Right. No, it's not that big of a deal, and I think it makes sense narratively and, like, brings a little bit of cohesion to the album, because it feels like we're listening to the start to the end of a relationship in a way as the songs progress. Rock On over and over at the end kind of feels like picking up from that relationship too. Like, it seems like it falls apart there, and then you're like picking up and getting some like confidence back.
Yeah, it's a loop-de-loop.
Yeah, something like that. Sure.
Sure.
High points on the album for me personally, I really like the title track, and In the Eyes of the Girl was my favorite one on there. I think that that's a really sweet and nice love song, and I think that it sounds fantastic. How about you?
Mine was How Can I Love Her More and My Golden Years.
Good one. My Golden Years was another one that I really liked, and the first time I played it through, naturally, first song on the album, I wasn't really sure what to think and wasn't digging the vocals all that much. And then as the song progresses, I'm like, oh, wait, actually, no, this is really fun. And then I ran it back before I listened to the rest of the album, and I'm like, wait, no, this is really good, actually.
Yeah.
It took like a couple minutes to grow on me.
Same. Because at first I was immediately abrasive towards it because Greta Van Fleet, and then I was like, oh, okay.
Right, yeah. That revivalism kind of thing can go wrong, and I think that it's going right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So if that's an era that you're into, this kind of like 60s, 70s rock stuff,
Then you'll like this.
yeah, you almost have to.
What was your score?
78. How about you?
I give it an 82.
82. Nice. So you were digging on it a little bit more than me, but
It's because the Beach Boys.
yeah. And realistically, like, I don't have any nostalgia or anything for this era of music. I got into the Beatles relatively recently, like almost embarrassingly recently, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure when, but like that stuff's kind of mostly new to me, honestly. So it makes a little bit more sense that it would be your vibe than mine, but still, we both like it. It's a good one. It's a good album.
Good album.
Shall we move on then?
Yeah, we're on to Willow, Empathogen.
In the dark lies the story of that ancient girl. There's always and always and always and always a need. I have such big feelings. Can't shut them down or let them out.
Yeah.
This album's the Kamasi Washington album, but a little worse.
You think so? Is it really that comparable to you? I mean, they're both like kind of rooted in jazz a little bit.
No, it's not. They're not. Oh, it was a meme. It was intentionally a meme, and then I was like, oh shit, am I right? And then I was like, okay, no, good, I'm not.
Yeah, no, not really. I think that there's quite a bit of difference here because this one has a lot of art pop influence going into it as well. I feel
this was a really good art pop project. It was good. It was good, and I liked it. And I was like, cool. There wasn't even a lot to say. Pitchfork gave it a 68 because they're fucking stupid this week.
Yeah, they're, like you said, they're kind of on one. What are they doing?
Don't really even have a ton to say about this album. It was just like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, it is, and I'm gonna listen to it. It kind of falls into like the last album we talked to Lemon Twigs one, where it's like, whoa, this is pretty good. And I'm gonna listen to this, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
To like this genre, you listen to this album. There was too many big things happening for me to be like digging too deep. St. Vincent is on this album. That was a pretty good track.
Very. Yeah, I really like that one.
I think that was my favorite track. No, Sentimental Life was my favorite track. Number 2 is Pain for Fun.
Yeah. I think I can agree with that in a way. I really liked how it gets kind of in a more like upbeat rock space towards the end of this album, the last quarter of it or so. Big Feelings and Run, I think, were both great ones, and it's nice to see like a little bit of like energy after the I guess calming and more slow first half of the album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Big Feelings is really good.
Yeah.
The only like low point in the album that I didn't really fuck with all that much was Down. And I still like that track. It's still a good track.
Yeah, no, I'm looking through it now, and I actually really enjoyed that one because it definitely is more slow and melodic and chill, but I think that it was super nice sounding just in doing that.
Yeah, it definitely was.
And I'm going through it, and I just don't really have any complaints about this one either. I think it's super nice all the way through.
Yeah, this is a pretty good album.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just if you put a gun to my head and said what's the worst track on this album, it's Down, but I'm not skipping.
Yeah, no, I would never skip it too. And that kind of is because like everything's so quick and kind of just is over quickly. I think that a little bit extra runtime on certain songs would have been very beneficial. Yeah, like there's a lot of ideas being presented that are very interesting on their own, but I think that some of it needs to be elaborated on a little bit more. You know, I mean, even the second track, Ancient Girl, okay? This song feels like it should be maybe double the length that it is, and it feels like it would have gotten to a better place if it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was kind of a shame that one wasn't as long as it could have been.
Right, and there's various ones on here like that. No Words 1 and 2, I mean, doesn't even really need to be there because of how short it is, but it sounds fine. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's nothing that sounds bad here though. Like I'm really trying to be like, is there something I don't like? And I guess it's just that it's not as fleshed out that it could be.
It's the week of the 8s, unfortunately, and there's not a whole lot to say about an 8.
Yeah, it's kind of just like, yeah, it's good. I assume you gave this around an 8?
Give it an 83.
83. I'm sitting at an 84, so we're
at 83.5.
Once again, 83.5. We're pretty consistent with each other this week.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's the week of 8s.
Week of 8s. Everything's good.
Just like this next album with Jessica Pratt.
Yeah.
This is a blue check album, just to like be clear. It's got a 79 user score though, which it should have an 8.
I totally agree, and it did at one point. So this was almost a purple album. We almost had 2 of those this week. But unfortunately,
this was purple when I looked at it.
Yeah. It has fallen below the 80 mark, unfortunately.
Oh shit, you guys gotta go there. listen to it, enjoy it, and give it a 100 so it goes back up.
I don't think it's a 100.
It's not a
though.
100.
I think that would be a bit much, but I will say something interesting about it that I genuinely feel. This is like a 70 and a 100 at the same time.
That's why I gave it a 82.
82. Okay. Whoa, we have the same score, but let's talk about
Alright.
why that is.
Because you said it is a 70 and 100 at the same time.
Right. And the part of me that's like, this is a 70 is the one that's being more analytical with it. Her voice is really unique. It's not like a voice that's going to stun you or anything, but she has a voice that's really interesting in sound. This very like high-pitched, kind of quiet tone to most of the tracks here is
It's
intriguing.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Goes
Yeah,
hard. I liked it.
Okay. I think that her voice takes a little bit of adapting to, but the weird feeling of it is
I immediately liked it.
okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure at first, but then I got used to it, and it's like, no, that's actually pretty cool, and it does make me kind of want to check out the rest of her music too, because that's going to be something very singular to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like looking through her discography, it's all pretty even. Critically, this is her best album, but like user score, it's all 74, 78, 77, 79.
Yeah, it seems like she's pretty consistent from what I've heard, but this is my first time listening to any of her music, and it's got a weird little vibe to it. It's very cool. The same way that the Lemon Twigs, I feel like I'm just listening to an old record, I kind of feel that with this too.
It's old vibes o'clock this week. We got a jazz album, a jazz like punk kind of album, the 60s, and the 60s again.
Yeah, but different.
Yeah.
This time it's like pop 60s.
Yeah.
It's doing some like bossa nova stuff in there.
Oh, and then do a Lipa drop. I already forgot about it.
Oh, already forgot. Oh no. But yeah, I just like sat down and focused on this for a little while and like let myself kind of sink into the vibe of it. And then when you do that, it becomes perfect suddenly.
Yeah.
It's really weird how that works.
That's pretty much all I did. And
The vibe is curated well. I'll say that much.
the vibes are immaculate, bro.
I think that the mixing and production choices across this to give it the aesthetic that it has is super intriguing, and I haven't really heard anything quite like this.
No, I have somewhere, but not quite. I only have a little comparison. I can't find it. Maybe it was just a Jessica Pratt song from 2012 that I heard and didn't realize.
That's possible. That's
It
possible.
doesn't. She doesn't appear on much. Like I'm looking at what she appears on, and it's nothing.
Yeah, seems like a very solo kind of just makes her own type of music and doesn't exactly do a lot more than that and doesn't really sound like anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Very cool album. I don't really know what else there is to say to it because it's pretty simple. Like the instrumentals are very stripped back and just kind of relaxed stuff, and then she's just singing over them. And I don't know if there's much more. I think the piano emphasis on Empires Never Know gives it a little bit more of like a distinct groove that stands out from the rest of it, but it's not one of my favorite tracks. I think it'd just be the easiest to come back to on its own.
That's true. I didn't have a favorite track. I just wrote down "Damn."
Yeah, that's totally fair. I don't have anything below an 8 out of 10, but I
Same.
do have a 10 out of 10, and that was Get Your Head Out. It's intangible. I don't know what to say about it. It's so weird, but it's so cool how this makes me feel.
This album is just one long song.
It kind of is in a way. You're right. And it's only 27 minutes, so.
Pitchfork decided to get his head up his ass and give this one an 88.
I love that you're referring to Pitchfork as a singular person. That's fair. That's fair. I'll take
I'll
that.
allow it. We feel exactly the same on an 82, but an 88 is extremely fair.
Extremely fair, yeah.
Fantana's gonna drop a 4 on this. Oh, he dropped a 7 on it.
Yeah, no, he liked it. The least out of everyone, surprisingly.
Yeah, what a
I
chump.
kind of expected there to be people who really disliked this, but it seems like everybody's just kind of digging it.
Oh, Sputnik didn't review it yet. Give it a minute.
Oh, that's true.
Sputnik
I'm
will
sure
drop
they
a
come
0
through
on
with
it.
An atrocious. The Guardian. Is The Guardian on here yet?
No.
No. Oh, yeah. No, they did. Hey, look at that.
What'd they give it?
What do you know? They're even not on crack.
Oh, they give
this
it an 8.
week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey. Seems like this one's just good. As a lot of the albums this week were just good.
Yeah, it was a really good week.
Super good week. It's such a weird time in music. And next week and the week after that is similarly stacked. Like, I didn't know this week was going into it, though. I was like, oh, I mean, these look interesting, whatever. I wasn't excited for a singular album that came out this week. I was not anticipating these. But then they came out, and it's like, oh, yeah, actually, this is kind of fantastic. You know what I'm saying?
Oh god, next week is AJ Cook, Knock Loose, Chief Keef Future, and Igloo Ghost.
Yeah. You don't like AJ Cook?
No, I'm hyped.
Oh, okay. It sounded it sounded very disappointed, I guess I'll say.
Nah, the only thing disappointing is now we have to do good notes again.
Yeah, right. AJ Cook, super excited to see what he's cooking up. No pun intended. Legitimately no pun intended. I did not
That's
mean
so
to do
funny.
that, but then I noticed it afterwards. Yeah.
You're so brave.
I'm so brave.
You're so brave.
Knocked Loose is probably my most anticipated album of the year.
Have you heard the singles from Knock Loose yet? Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're excellent. Chief Keef is hopefully finally dropping Almighty So too.
He's not dropping. He's not doing it.
We'll see. Only time will tell, because I don't think it's actually come out anywhere yet. So, maybe it's happening.
Well, he's from Chicago. He might drop it like on time for us.
That's true. Yeah, same time zone. So maybe we'll see what happens.
Okay, so he dropped 2 singles on it.
Chief Keef did?
Yeah, he dropped 2 singles on it, and on Apple Music, like it just has to upload.
Oh no, it's been like that.
Oh no.
It's been like that for like 6 months.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully, Almighty So 2 is getting out of development hell finally.
God damn it, bro. What are you changing on it?
My hopes are not high for how long it's been delayed, but hopefully it's good. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Igloo Ghost. I have not listened to Igloo Ghost before, but I'm super excited to for the first time because people like Igloo Ghost a lot. There might be more. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know yet. Music hasn't dropped yet. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Either way, super exciting week next week. And then we can get into our rankings for this week. How about we go ahead and do that? Again, the rap beef is kind of the craziest thing happening in music right now, and unfortunately is kind of overshadowing some great stuff, but we'll take it from the bottom and go to the top, rankings-wise, for the albums. Dua Lipa's Radical Optimism is our bottom for the week, 64.5%. Just a pretty standard pop album, as far as I'm concerned, at least. And then, wow, everything else is an 80 or above, because the Lemon Twigs, A Dream Is All We Know, is coming in 4th place for us at an 80%.
Trash.
Trash. It makes it look like it with what's above it.
Yeah, I know.
Which is so crazy, because that could probably top some of our worst weeks. But then we have Here in the Pitch by Jessica Pratt at an 82%. Super interesting stuff.
Trash.
He's just coming back at it with
No,
the beef.
I'm kidding.
Stirring things up now. Willow, Empathogen at an 83.5%. And then our very top for the week, Kamasi Washington's Fearless Movement. Excellent jazz album. Probably jazz album of the decade so far, I want to say.
Yeah, it's definitely my album of the year, unless somebody drops a 10.
Yeah, it's close to mine as well. We're sitting at a 97.5%. It might be my second highest.
What's your highest score right now? Is it Glass Beach?
Blade.
Oh, that's right.
Which is going to look so ridiculous.
It does.
Because it's going to be this like super profound and like really intricate and awesome jazz album. And then Blade is the only thing above it.
Oh my god.
But then Glass Beach was right afterwards, so at a close third. But
God.
I'm sorry, man. I just love the Blade album that much.
My album of the year list so far is so pretentious.
Mine is Internet.
Mine it starts off with Kamasi Washington, and then Vampire Weekend is number 2.
Oh man.
Yeah. If you count the EPs, the Marwa EP is next. But if you don't count the EPs, then Kudeka's number 3, and then Just the Tree is number 4, and then Adrian Lanker is number 5.
That's pretty pretentious.
Yep.
But it's okay. It's okay. Hopefully we find more pretentious, awesome albums to talk about next week.
Gonna look worse next week.
It might look worse next week. Micah, do you have anything to say to the people before we go?
Like the jazz with all the homies.
That's pretty wholesome. And we'll see you next time.